I pretty much showed y'all how they be targeting black people, how they be treating us, how they be doing us. And I know some of y'all may say, oh, well, you know, all because they did that doesn't mean what God stands for. I've already shown y'all in text that what they think of goyim and what they think of women, and specifically black people. I already told y'all and showed y'all that they don't give a fuck about us. They think, you know, when Jesus comes, they're gonna have 1,200 slaves. So y'all still be delusional, but don't worry, I'm gonna keep attacking. I'm gonna keep coming at it. So a lot of y'all niggas that be Jewish and Christian love to talk about the motherfucking Dead Sea Scrolls, talking about, oh, these have been here for hundreds of thousands of years, and you know this is proof showing that, oh, there's a Messiah and all this. So let's just touch on the Dead Sea Scroll. So we got the Dead Sea Scrolls are important not only because they offer insight into the community of Qumran, but because they provide a window to the wider spectrum of ancient Jewish belief and practice. No, the Dead Sea Scrolls do not contradict the Bible. In fact, the opposite is the case. Remember, printing had not been invented in those days. Books therefore had to be laboriously copied by hand, and special precautions had to be taken to prevent errors from creeping in. So the Dead Sea Scrolls are actually, you know, working with the Bible. You know, they're backing up the Bible. Okay, that sounds good, right? Okay. It says, at Qumran, on the other hand, among the Dead Sea Scrolls, we hear not of just one Messiah, but at least two Messiahs. Some of their writings talk about a Messiah of David that is a kind of kingly figure who will come to lead the war. So let's take a look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, because I just want to blow this bitch out the way. So it's by National Geographic. It says Dead Sea Scrolls at the Museum of the Bible are all forgeries. Months of testing confirmed earlier suspicions that the fragments were made in modern times. What happens next? This was March 13th, 2020. And then this is from the Smithsonian. It says all the Museum of the Bible's Dead Sea Scrolls are fake, reports finds. So y'all niggas love talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls is, the Dead Sea Scrolls is, oh, the Dead Sea Scrolls are proof. Well, the Dead Sea Scrolls are fake, forgery. Someone lied and said those were around for thousands of years. So that's like y'all's fundamental that y'all be relying on so bad. So if I just blew that bitch out the water and scientists and tests have revealed that that shit is a bunch of bullshit and it's all fake, why do y'all still believe in this shit? It says, on the fourth floor of the Museum of the Bible, a sweeping permanent exhibit. I cannot speak. On the fourth floor of the Museum of the Bible, a sweeping permanent exhibit tells the story of how the ancient sculpture became the world's most popular book. A warmly lit sanctum at the exhibit heart reveals some of the museum's most prized possessions. Fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls, ancient texts that include the oldest known surviving copies of the Hebrew Bible. So that's why y'all niggas be dick riding on the Dead Sea Scrolls, because it's the oldest known Bible. But now, the Washington, D.C. Museum has confirmed the bitter truth about the fragments. Ain't nothing bitter about it. Hell yeah. It says, on Friday, independent researchers funded by the Museum of the Bible announced that all 16 of the museum's Dead Sea Scroll fragments are modern forgeries that duped outside collectors. The museum's founder and some of the world's leading biblical scholars officials unveiled the findings at an academic conference hosted by the museum. So, like I said, the shit y'all be dick riding on to really prove and help y'all theory about Christianity and Judaism, that's just fake, nigga. That's just fucking fake, nigga. So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all some videos, and it's gonna show like some some similarities between the Bible and ancient Africa, Kemet, whatever you want to call it. And it's gonna show how y'all niggas be stealing shit out of our fucking culture, out of our religion, quote to say, because black people weren't really religious back then. But yeah, y'all niggas was taking everything from us though and making y'all's own religion. So yeah, I'm gonna show y'all.
It's the god Khnum fashioning man on the potter's wheel out of clay. This is where Judaism took a portion of this to make up their Genesis story with the Sanhedrins around 250 BC. From this relief right here of God fashioning man and woman on the potter's wheel. And they took other concepts of Atum from Heliopolis creation story, or the city of On, to make up their Adam as a man, when actually it was Atum the son. And we see European Christianity took from the goddess Isis and Horus and made up the European, again, let me express, the European version of Mary and Jesus. Copied directly from these reliefs right here. So you got Greek philosophy, where he took from Tahuti and called it Hermes Trismegistus. You got the Jehovah Genesis creation story and the Bible, where they took from Khnum, fashioning man on the potter's wheel out of clay, and they turned it into making man out of clay, Adam out of clay. And you also got Christianity right here showing Isis lactating or breastfeeding the holy child Horus, who was born of immaculate conception and virgin birth. 3 concepts just from this one relief. You see, all carved in stone. Of Khufu. That is his solar boat. This boat is 140 feet long, longer than Captain Cook's boat. When this boat was excavated in 1954 in a pit, over 1,200 pieces, the boat was dismantled. And they reconstructed, took 1,200 pieces to reconstruct this boat of Khufu. Now, what was the purpose of this boat? This boat was called the Nuank. What is the Nuank? What was the Nuank? The flooding of the Nile was called the Nuank. Now, when the Nile flooded, it was Khufu who realized that he could take his solar astral journey through the Nile to the celestial Nile, that was the Milky Way, to take him back to his father, Asar. So the Milky Way was looked at as the celestial Nile, like the earthly Nile. So it was the Nuank that took him back. That was the purpose of his boat. That later it was corrupted into Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark was taken from the Nuank. This is where it came from. Nowhere are you going to find no Noah's Ark. If you were back at the time of 4,000 years ago, or during the time of Khufu, and you asked him about Noah, boy, what's wrong with you? Know nothing about no Noah. You see my boat here? This is where the story came from. The flood, the great flood. There were many floods. There was the flood of Zoser. It was Zoser during the time when he commissioned to Khnum and to Upper Kemet to let the flood waters of the Nuank come back to flood the land, because here you see the drought took place, and Khnum said, you have not given recognition to your homeland, the south, Upper Egypt. And then we see Khnum let the flood waters open up. This is where we get the story. This information is not given to no one here but you, because you got a whole different reason for being back here. And that is to tell the truth. We want the truth and nothing but the truth. That's what we want here. You see? It's a new day. Something is opening up here. It's a spiritual consciousness. So you are looking at the Nuank, where the Noah's Ark came from. The Nuank. That's the origin. Now they got it encased in this casing here. The reliefs have been chiseled out. Fortunately, this one is here telling of the first virgin birth resurrection story, where the goddess Aset forms herself into a bird and descends on top of Asar's penis. Although you see the chiseling out of his penis, because many of the Europeans who were coming in during the Roman times could not deal with the sacredness of the body, like Theodosius and Justinian and others. But Isis is going to take the seed from his body to impregnate herself. And this is the earliest concept of the Immaculate Conception, long before an angel of the Lord and Gabriel coming to Mary and said she's going to be with the Holy Child. Look how Asar is lying out on the bed. Look how the Romans copied the concept. Let's go to Rome. See the Pope lying out on the same bed, same hedge crown that Asar is wearing as well, same funeral beds, even got the lion heads that you see right here, even down to the detail of the lion heads of the funeral bed. Now, the only difference is, instead of a bird perpendicular to the Pope, they have the white Mary and Jesus, the European Mary and Jesus. But here, let's take and put a set right above here, and you got the same story, the prototype of the Madonna and Child, where she was known as the Theotokos, of the Mother of God. Then she in turn becomes impregnated, and she's in the form of, in this form, as the Mheted Ra, or the sacred baboon, because the baboon representing birth. You see her stomach swelled up, but she also forms the Zoop type, okay, of the hippo. Why the hippo for the Zoop type? Because the hippo comes out of the water. It bursts out of the water, okay? And a woman looks something like a hippo. No insult, but they saw that that symbolically shows that she's impregnated, and how the hippo comes out of the water is symbolically like breaking her water. So the Zoop type that they used was the hippo. So Aset is now impregnated with the holy seed of Asar that she had taken from him when she formed herself into the bird, as you see the falcon. You know it's Aset because that's her glyph for Aset. She is now impregnated with the holy child. Here we see it, the earliest holy child concept of a virgin birth story. Here's the prototype of it all. This was the origin where people would come in. These temples were covered in sand. After they took everything they wanted, then all it was covered up. Time took them over. Now we're dug out to come back to see where the story came from. The earliest Immaculate Conception and Resurrection story. Unfortunately, you can't see her on the donkey because that is too obvious right here. Now we see Ursa Ma'at Ra, Septepan Ra Ramesu Ramariaman. A little practice, you can say it too. Here we see that was his throne name, as they call Ramsey from Ramesu, is now under the ram, symbolizes Amen. 2,000 years ago, our ancestors worshipped Amen, and his symbol was the ram because the sun was in the constellation of Aries. I show this because let's go to Christian art, and you see the ram in the European Roman Christian art. Why is that ram in their Christian art? Because they were deifying and worshiping Amen. Is this animal worship here? If they have the animal ram represented as Amen in their art, and it's not animal worship, why they come into Kemet and say animal worship and pagan and heathen and polytheism and all these other type of negative terms? Let's look at this. When you also go and look at and see the ram or the lamb over, as you see a Roman character of a Jesus here, it looks like. But when you look at that figure with the ram or the lamb over the shoulders, it was taken from Kemet when I showed you when the ram or the lamb in ancient Kemet, where the king became one with Amen and the Zoop type was the ram. But let's go over 4,000 years ago to the tomb of Meruka. I'm going to show you here, as you see the priest with the ram around his neck. But when we look at Leonardo da Vinci's artwork, you see Leonardo da Vinci's artwork with the lamb or ram around his neck. You can see where the origin of that came from. But this is carved in Meruka's tomb over 4,000 years ago, long before Leonardo da Vinci's European image of the Jesus. And our ancestors saw, in order for the king to rule the throne, like you have Ursa Ma'at Ra here, the goddess Sheshat. Here you see her in the tree of divine wisdom, giving the fruit of divine knowledge and wisdom in order for him to rule the throne. It had nothing to do with no tree of good and evil. The patriarchs who came from the north, the Hyksos and others, who had a misogynistic nature, a hatred towards the woman, could not conceive of a woman nor a goddess giving a man anything. And that story was corrupted. The tree of divine wisdom and divine life was corrupted into the tree of what? Because here we have that they created in their biblical stories and the opening of the pages in Genesis that there was Adam and Eve, is that right? And they were not to eat of the tree of what? Knowledge of what? Good and evil. Now who was seduced by the serpent and ate from the tree? That's why, sisters, you got to watch and hear that sound. Psst. But anyway, here we see that she was seduced to eat the fruit, and then she seduced who? Adam. Now we are told that that's the reason for the world's sins of this first woman eating of the tree of good and evil, and that that's also not only the reason for the world's sins, but her monthly cycle is to remind her of that sin. This is what's taught in the church. The African story is the goddess Sheshat giving the fruit of divine life from the tree of divine life and wisdom in order for the king to rule the throne.
All right, so y'all seen, we had, y'all seen Noah's Ark. Y'all seen, what our version of it was. This is an actual fucking boat that has been proven to be thousands of years old, unlike y'all's motherfucking Dead Sea Scrolls. So this shit ain't fake, nigga. Y'all got we got hieroglyphs on the walls showing stories of Heru or Horus being born in the manger, and y'all see the three wise men. Y'all see the star, all that shit. They all niggas want to call it Star of David. Y'all see all that shit. So the Bible seems fairly suspiciously close to hieroglyphic text on the walls, but we can prove that the hieroglyphic walls have been there for thousands of years. Y'all niggas can't even prove that y'all fundamental base has been around for a few hundreds of years, because that shit's fake, as I just told y'all. So it goes to show that y'all niggas be taking everything out the fucking Bible, and this is only a few things. Y'all niggas take literally everything. The cross, the whole meaning of that, that's a different video. But y'all niggas took the cross. Y'all niggas took everything. Just like the Germans and Nazis took the what y'all would call the swastika. Yeah, they took that shit from Africa. It didn't mean that, and I could prove to y'all that they took that shit out from Africa. But that's gonna be another video. I'm not trying to make that shit too long. Moving on, I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna show y'all some more similarities that, you know, apparently or coincidentally happen to be in the Bible that also happen to be in Egyptian culture. So we got, does this sound familiar? Do not curse God, do not scorn God. Do not abandon your parents, do not commit murder. Do not defile the wife of a man, do not steal. Do not bear false witness, do not defraud the humble man of his property. These commandments are taken from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, written centuries before the story of Moses and his encounter with God. So that shit kind of sounded familiar, right? You know, only have one God, do not murder, thou shalt not steal. That kind of sounds familiar. But this shit is proven to be centuries of years way before what you want to call Moses. And this is a picture of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and it's got some scrolls and it's written on the papyrus, and this is what it says. It says, as the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead can be considered the forefather of the Bible and Quran, correspondingly, the 42 negative confessions could be considered the forefather of the Law of Moses and especially of the Ten Commandments. At this point, we may recall the teachings of Jesus, where he told us that the law given by Moses was actually not the entire law. Indeed, the Ten Commandments are included in the 42 negative confessions, which may be considered as 42 commandments, the whole law. These 42 commandments have been created with the purest, with the most pure mind, and thus only negative forms are used. Whoever utters them cannot take any credit for his/her deeds, but rather only tell about what he/she has not done. The negative construction of commandments is thus a praise to the highest God. So, the same 10 commandments that y'all niggas love talking about in church and saying you won't do and haven't done, and we also got those same 10 commandments in our version, our 42 negative confessions. So, I'm going to show y'all some pictures of it, pretty much what it says. You can skim through it. Some of it says, I have not committed sins against men. I have not opposed my family and kinsfolk. I have not fraudulently in the sea of truth. I have not known men were of no account. I have not wrought evil. It's a whole lot. Like I said, there's 42. I'm not going to read all of them. But yeah, y'all can see that we got the same commandments that Moses gave y'all. So kind of seems fishy, right? Because this shit was around for thousands of years before Moses was. Moving on, we're going to talk about Freemasons. And I know y'all don't like to hear that word Freemasons. You know, y'all think of Illuminati. Y'all niggas think of aliens and people controlling the world. Well, newsflash, that's really what's going on. But I'm not going to be talking about that. I already talked about that in my old video. But here, I'm going to show y'all proof that Freemasons exist. Because y'all niggas love denying all types of proof, saying, no, Freemasons do not exist. It's just a theory. So this shit is accredited by researchers, actual articles who got a good reputation. So let's see what they have to say. It says Benjamin Franklin, prominent scientist, inventor, and civic activist, the United States founding forefather, Benjamin Franklin is perhaps one of the most famous Freemasons. Alongside his duties as Grand Master of Pennsylvania, Benjamin Franklin formulated theories of positive and negative electrical charges and invented the lightning rod and bifocal glasses. So, this nigga is documented as being a Freemason, and not only that, this nigga is a Grand Master. So, this nigga is a top dog. On top of that, that nigga stole ideas from Nikola Tesla, Nikola Tesla, rest in peace him. They took all that nigga's theories and murdered him, and bitch ass Benjamin Franklin went ahead and took credit for it. We got Winston Churchill. This two-time British Prime Minister had family history with the Masons and was a member of the Studholme Mason Lodge number 1591 in England. Initiated in 1901, he had little to do with Freemasonry outside casual social engagements and resigned from the lodge in 1912. So, supposedly, he wasn't too involved in it, but I guarantee he was. We got Franklin D. Roosevelt, the former governor of New York and 32nd president of the United States. Franklin D. Roosevelt became an honorary Grand Master of the Order of de Molay in a ceremony that took place at the White House. You got J. Edgar Hoover, one of the Freemasons' most dedicated members, was the founder of the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover was a Master Mason by 25 years old, became a 33rd degree Inspector General honorary in 1955, the highest level in Freemasonry. So, like I said, these niggas is all top dogs. I'm making it up. We got Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. The famous Austrian composer was the son of a Freemason and wrote several Masonic musical numbers. Composer Franz Joseph Haydn belonged to the same lodge as Mozart. Other notable, Johann Christian Bach was also a Freemason. So, everyone's a Freemason. You got motherfucking U.S. officials. You got musicians, all types of shit. And there's a picture of George Washington that he had up in a portrait at the White House when he was in. And as y'all see his attire, his outfit, he got the apron on with the tools. He got the, I forget what they call that shit, in his hand. And he's standing on the checkered floor, which is it's like a symbol of Freemasonry. And he had this shit hung up. So, like I said, y'all can't make this shit up talking about, oh, Freemasons don't exist. Because this nigga has the same attire that is rumored to be worn by Freemasons. Next, we got this book called America's a Truer World, Moo Discovered. I recommend y'all read it. I'm going to do a whole nother video and lecture, and it's pretty much going to be about how black people were all over the world first, that no, Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. In fact, his ass never got to America. But I'm going to do a whole nother different video or series on that. But reading this real quick. This is from Amenhotep. And it says, formerly known as Eugene James Williams, is an honorary 33rd degree Mason, Crown Knight of Kush. So, like I said, y'all niggas keep talking about Freemasons and Masons don't exist and shit. This nigga is coming out saying he is a Mason. He knows plenty of other people who are Masons. And he wrote a book. So, y'all can doubt me, but go read this shit yourself. Go do your research. You're going to see that Masons do exist and Freemasons do exist. But let's see what his book says, because like I said, we're talking about Freemasons. Why do I bring up Freemasons and religion? Why? How does that go together, you know? I'm about to show you how it goes together. And then on page 67, it says, these European Masons took a blood oath to never reveal to the children of the Moors who they truly were. As Azim Hopkins Bey quotes in his book, What Your History Books Fail to Teach You, George Washington, chairman of the Continental Congress of 1774, is documented saying, if we would agree to take the fezzes and turbans off the Moors' heads and remove the sandals from their feet and enforce it with severe punishment, and also swear a death oath between ourselves religiously and faithfully, not to allow anyone to teach the Moorish children whom they really are or who their forefathers were, and only allow the Moorish children to be taught that they were truly Negroes, black people, and colored folks. George Washington stated that 200 years from today, the Moorish people would not know their nationality nor the national name of their forefathers. Also, they would not know from which land or ancestors that they descended from. So, George Washington is quoted as saying they took a blood oath to religiously enforce us and strip away our ancestral knowledge. So they religiously put this religion on us. So y'all keep talking about, oh, black people were religious before white people got there, or, you know, black people are the true Jews and all that. Black people were not religious. As George Washington just stated, as they would religiously enforce it, meaning Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, fucking Islam, that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. And I'm not saying George Washington was all that, but I'm saying, just like I said, just like in the Middle East, how niggas is Muslim is the same reason why niggas in America are Christian. So when he talking about religiously, he talking about all the fucking religions. So, y'all got George Washington being documented, meaning this nigga wrote this shit down, saying they religiously took a blood oath to strip away our ancestral knowledge. And as he said, we would not know our ancestors. We wouldn't know where the fuck we came from. Niggas keep talking about, oh, we came on a boat. We didn't all come on a boat. Some black people already here. I'm going to do a whole nother lecture, whole series, and it's pretty much going to be talking about how it's going to show how black people were all over the world first and how niggas invaded us. And I'm talking show and talk about where those niggas came from. But black people was in Asia first. No, the Chinese motherfuckers you see now aren't the original people. Just like in the Middle East, you see like the brown skinned niggas, they not original. Them niggas ain't even natural. But like I said, that's another video. But like I'm showing y'all, George Washington is being quoted as they saying they religiously took a blood oath to strip all our memory away. You don't know where you came from. Nigga, I don't even know where I came from. I don't even know my dad. I just know I'm black. I can't tell you where I came from. So, these niggas told you. So, it's up to y'all if you don't want to believe this. But, like I said, go read the book yourselves. Let's see what it's called again. It's called What Your History Books Fail to Teach You. Go look that shit up. You can see it's cited. So, there's actual proof showing that the text and documents are real. So, don't take my word for it. Do the reading yourselves. But moving on, then we gonna get to the bottom, because like I said, just like how niggas is Muslim in the Middle East, same reason why niggas is Christian in America. So I'm gonna show y'all that Muslim and all Islam and all that shit has been around for a long time. Niggas think since the dawn of time, like, oh, black people were Muslim. Like, no, that's not it. And I'm gonna show y'all some influence. I'm gonna show y'all how the U.S., or not the U.S., but the Americas back then were also influenced. So read on. It says, Islam was in America and it had a big influence on America because you have a total of 565 names, 484 in America and 81 in Canada, of villages, towns, cities, mountains, lakes, rivers, etc. are etymologically Arabic, which are designated by locals long before the arrival of Columbus. So you got names that are Arabic way before bitch-ass Christopher Columbus supposedly got here. It says, many of these names are in fact the same as names of Islamic places. Mecca in Indiana, Medina in Idaho, Medina in New York, Medina in Hazen in North Dakota, Medina in Ohio, Medina in Tennessee, Medina in Texas. But yeah, so I'm going to get that shit to it in a bit. But it says, Pope Paul III approved Ignatius' outline of the Society of Jesus, and the Jesuit order was born. Copernicus dedicated his heliocentric treatise to Pope Paul III, who was known for his astrological predilection. Astronomy and astrology were at the time closely related and equally regarded. And then it says, St. Ignatius Loyola, this is the founder of the Jesuits. And like I said, Jesuits also take blood oaths because this has to tie in with, like I said, how George Washington said they religiously took a blood oath. This shows that Jesuits also take a blood oath, but I'm gonna get to that in a bit. And it says, let's look at what the Jesuit oath is, because like I said, y'all may not believe me that they take a blood oath. I'm gonna show y'all they take a blood oath. So this is the Jesuit oath. I'm not even gonna read the whole thing because I don't want them niggas coming for me that because I said the whole oath. So I'm gonna skim down. I'm gonna just I'm gonna read some shit out loud. It says, I now in the presence of the Almighty God, the blessed Virgin Mary, the blessed Michael Archangel, the blessed St. John the Baptist, and my ghostly father, Superior General of the Society of Jesus, founded by St. Ignatius Loyola, due by the womb of the Virgin, swear that His Holiness the Pope is Christ's vice-regent and is the true and only head of the Catholic or Universal Church. I do now renounce and disown any allegiance is due to any hereditary king, prince, or state named Protestant or liberal, or obedience to any of their law, magistrates, or officers. I do further declare the doctrine of the Church of England and Scotland and of Calvinists, Huguenots, and others of the name of the Protestant or liberal to be damnable and themselves to be damned. So, the Jesuits are saying they're not going to comply with, Christian laws, Catholic laws, etc. Moving on, it says, I do furthermore promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless war secretly or openly against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals as I am directed. And then it says, I will hang, burn, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive those infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of the men, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate their excremable race. That when the same cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poisonous cup, the strangulating cords, the steels of the pornoid, or the leaden bullets, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authorities of the persons, whatever may be their condition in life. So, these niggas just secretly, I do secretly because it's really not a secret, but y'all niggas just dumb, so y'all think it's a secret. So, these niggas will secretly kill anyone who stands in the way, anyone who isn't in agreement with their religion, aka their cult, and their power. And then it says, as I at any time may be directed by an agent of the Pope or the Superior of the Holy Father of the Society of Jesus, in confirmation of which I hereby dedicate my life, my soul, and my corporal powers, and with his dagger which I now receive. And yada yada yada. I ain't about to read the rest because I ain't even fucking with this oath. Yeah, I didn't read the rest, but as you can see, they talk about what's gonna happen to them if they can't, if they can't carry out their oath. And I said, yeah, I'm not even reading the rest because I ain't about to say that shit. But as you see here, here's a Jesuit oath, and then here's a Masonic oath. It's a bit different, but like I said, Freemasons, they take a blood oath. Y'all could look up, do the research yourself, but literally just go on YouTube. Just type Masonic oath, and it'll literally show you a video of, and they try to do it all cute because they don't want to scare people who aren't Freemasons. But you can literally go on YouTube, type that shit, and it's gonna be a bunch of middle-aged white people, and they're gonna talk about their oath, and they're like, oh yeah, we like to put a blindfold over our eyes, and that just means we're blinded. But once we become, blessed with this Masonicness or whatever, like we're open to the real world and we see the truth. Y'all can watch it. They try to make it all cutely and shit like that, but to keep it simple for y'all, they put the blindfold over their eyes because they really think they're blinded, and when they take that shit off, like they supposedly see a whole new way of meaning of life, and they take an oath and swear that if they tell anybody their secrets who isn't in the cult with them, that they're gonna die. They know that they're gonna die, which is why a lot of your favorite celebrities and rappers be dead, or they killed themselves and shit like that, and political figures killed themselves, but they didn't kill themselves. It's because they either exposed the truth or they were a loose end and niggas had to kill them, and they just blamed it on, suicide. Like Jeffrey Epstein, suicide, right? But anyways, you can see how the Jesuit oath and the Masonic oath is very similar. They got the shit here, and they're pledging their allegiance, just like how when you bitch-ass niggas be, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United... Like, y'all niggas really... Y'all be pledging your allegiance to these niggas. But anyways, that's just showing y'all that these niggas really took a blood oath to religiously keep all your... If you black, they religiously and consciously and purposely are oppressing your black ass so you don't know where you came from, because they know we got power. They know we got power. But moving on, this is Georges Henry Lemaitre, who was a Jesuit priest, and he invented the Big Bang Theory, which, as I said, the evolution theory, the Big Bang Theory, it's all a bunch of bullshit.